Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy DC coming back with another bullseye of a video here today on the channel. We're gonna be doing a tiers list, ranking the best UAD plugins. Okay, so if you guys do like this type of video, I see I like the first one a lot. Down below, give me a comment what you think about some of my opinions on these plugins. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and suggest more ideas. You want to support the channel? Well, check the links. And like how I said again, down below, let me know what you think about these type of videos. I'm enjoying them. All right, so we got a tiers list here of all of the UAD's plugins that I've used pretty much, which is almost all of them. Outside of like the bundles, we got everything here. Let's talk about the tiers. The first tier is going to be mix and master. So these are the very best tippity top plugins that usually make the final mix and master. Then we have rough mix, which is a step below mix and master. Rough mix is usually like those plugins that are good enough to make the demo. You feel me? The rough demo. You feel me? Then we have template. So these are like the plugins that are good enough for you to start with and actually make the template. You feel me? They're good enough for the template, but they might get changed later. Then we have debatable, which is like a plugin you ain't really touched like that much. It's on the shelf collecting dust. And at the end we have delete, which is the plugin that you don't use at all. There's better options. Just delete that thing. All right, so let's get to it. I would say the very first one, I'm gonna definitely go with the DBX 160. It's gonna definitely be on the template. It's actually could even make the rough mix. I like this a lot. And this video today is about all of the plugins, how they can be used in general, not just on vocals. But I love using this on parallel kick and snare, and it has a great way of popping out transients. And the DBX 160 can also be good for vocals. Vocal, I like using them on ad-libs because it has like this pop, the snap, crackle, and pop. It reminds me of Rice Krispie treats. Oh, Rice Krispie when you pour the milk in a bowl and they start popping and crackling and making all that noise. Okay, then we have the TubeTech CO1B. So the TubeTech CO1B is really good. I love how it's an optical compressor, but it has variable attack and release. So that gives it a huge advantage over LA2A 3A, which has automatic release. So that's going into rough mix. I usually never use it like a typical, compressor. I usually use it as a saturator, just letting it run through because I just love how the two preamp sounds. It's cool. Okay, so the distressor, that's definitely gonna have to go into rough mix. So with the distressor, it's such a versatile Swiss Army knife. You can make it sound like any compressor, and that's why we're throwing it there. Let's see, the CLA3A, not the CLA3A, that one is actually good. I'm gonna put the LA3A for UAD in the debatable. I think the CLA3A is so much better than it, just based off the tone, and it's also cheaper than the UAD 3A. I usually sometimes use UAD 3A, but then I bring in the CLA 3A, and the CLA 3A always sounds better. Or I might use another optical compressor for whatever the source material is, like a 2A. I love the 2As with UAD, and for that, just to mention it, we're gonna have to put that at the tippity top. Those are literally the best LA2A emulations you can get from the plug itself, which is UAD. UAD is the creator, so if you want to get an invention, you got to go directly to Thomas Edison. You want to get the first light bulb, you go to Edison. So yeah, with UAD, they created the LA2A, Bill Putnam, and I just love like the LA2. That's one of my favorite emulations. It's pretty slow, but each one of those LA2 LA emulations all got their own different flavors, so they give more versatility than just the basic waves version. For the tape, the UAD ATR, I'm gonna have to put that in rough mix. I throw that on my master a lot, and for some weird reason, it always makes the master feel a little bit more wider, a little bit more dense. It just gives me everything that I love without too much trying to sound like tape. It's got different types of tape modes, and it also allows you to individually control the tape compression with the calibration button. So that's why it's gonna have to go up there. Let's see what else we got here. Avalon. The Avalon gotta make mix and master. One of the best, creamy, thumping. It feels like milk and cookies. Hershey's is gonna be the Avalon. The Avalon channel strip is great for tracking. It's great for bass. It's great for vocals. It's great for pianos and keys, and that's why I put it at the top of these. All right. So let's look what else we got here. The Capital Chambers. It's gonna be hard for me to put something in delete, but if I do gotta put something in delete, I'm gonna put the UAD Pure Plate. I've printed mixes with that plugin, and a lot of people, they say, take that reverb off, change that reverb. That's some of the few times I've ever had that happen to me, when somebody says, "Man, you got to change the reverb," it's always been with the pure plate. A lot of people just don't like it, and maybe because it's a real good plate emulation, but it's kind of brash. It's kind of really brash in the high end. It kind of gives like a little harshness. So I can see why somebody would say they don't like that type. Also for debatable, I'm gonna throw in the brigade. It's a great quick brigade, but I think that it kind of lacks a lot of features. Where like Valhalla Ubermod is a plugin that's better. Even the stock Pro Tools or even the Logic Pro chorus, to me it sounds better. So I'm gonna be going with that. Now, next thing we're gonna have is the Culture Vulture. I think actually I'm gonna throw it in template, because with the Culture Vulture, for the price it's pretty expensive. It's like 100 and plus $20, something like that, a lot. You could get the Decapitator, which will give you access to the triode and the pento tubes. When you want a little bit of that saturation to beef up an 808, it's perfect for an 808. But I feel like the Decapitator, when it's on sale, it's cheaper and it's more versatile, as it has a couple more saturation modes. Now we're gonna have to throw the AKG 240 or 420. I'm not sure, but the AKG Spring Reverb, that one's got to go mix and master. Spring reverbs are supposed to be dirty, but the AKG always has this way of, even though it's like a dirty thing, it still feels good. It feels so wrong, but it feels so right. Even though it's a spring reverb, it has a great way of feeling lush, and I love using this on ad-libs. I love using it on electric guitars, reggae guitars especially. Boom, 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 boom. When you want that little bounciness, but also that distortion that helps like a guitar cut through, not on the actual guitar itself, but on the reverb that's giving that dirtiness to the guitar. So that's why we're gonna go with that spring reverb. After that, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these UAD plugins are really good. They're gonna be up there. The Neve 1073, it gotta go and mix and master. Just the preamp section alone, they nailed the preamp section alone. I love how it's thumping. You feel the transformer weight. Then you hear the transistor sizzle. The grease on the frying pan. You feel it. It feels great. So yeah, the Neve 1073, they nailed that plugin. Even the Neve 1084. While we're at it, let's throw the little brother up there. At the top of the podium with the big brother. You feel me? So the Neve 1073 and the Neve 1084, that preamp section is just wow, like a chef. It's just so perfect, and it just sounds so good, and it gives weight, and it's the perfect thing to track vocals with. I like to also use it on pianos. I like to use it on my music bus. Anything that just needs some musicality and some rounding off on the top. Maybe sometimes I want to get a little bit of that buzzy sound on electric guitars. I'll just use only the preamp section, and then I'll just put it on the mic pre, and I'll distort it and parallel blend it, and it always gives great presence to things. We're gonna have to go with the precision limiter. The precision limiter is pretty cool if you need a transparent limiter, but I would much prefer something like FabFilter Pro L, using the basic transparent mode. I like to use my limiters not just necessarily for volume 2, but for more flavor, for more hot sauce. So that's why this is transparent limiter is cool, but there's a lot of limiters are supposed to be transparent. So I think there's better options. FabFilter Pro L, L2 if you want a distorted sound, Ozone maximizer, that's a great one too. So there's a lot of things that are better than that plugin. The 1176s, those got to go to the top. I love the internal side chains in those 1176s. You got different presets, and one that's not here but is the best one to me is the 1176 SE on UAD, and that's the one that has no preamp. It's not modeling the transformer. It's just the clean action of the compressor. That's the favorite one that I use the most. And a lot of 76s are supposed to be clean, but it's good when you got a transparent 76 and you just want the motion. When you move, I move, just like that monkey see, monkey do. You want sometimes just the motion of a 76 and not more of the dirtiness. The 1176 SC is the one I love the most. Okay. We got the TLA, the Summit TLA. That's pretty good. Good enough to make the template, good enough to track with. It gives some releases that other other optical compressors don't, but the Tube Tech is the best one because it really lets you dial in the sound. Okay. Maggie Q, that's good enough for the template. I'm only gonna put it on template because Brainworks Plugin Alliance has that same plugin for way cheaper, so that's why it's going in template, because of the price of UAD. After that, we're gonna put the SSL bus compressor and the SSL channel strip on template. It's definitely good enough for the template. I don't ever really find myself using the SSLE UAD on the actual vocals itself, because that one is really powerful. Especially the preamp section is really powerful and super colored, and I don't like to be heavy handed and put all of my seasoning all at once when I'm cooking my food. I like to put a little bit of light seasoning in the beginning and maybe a little light seasoning towards the middle and the end process. Okay, so that's why I don't like it. It's a little too heavy handed. The Neve 88RS is gonna have to go there in rough mix. It's the perfect warming channel strip, and I feel like it's more versatile than the SSL, so that's why it's going one step above it. For the studio chorus, the Dimension D, I would put it in delete, man. You know, it's a pretty good chorus, but I just think that it lacks some, more options, like being able to change the rate, being able to change the amount of feedback, being able to change the depth. Those other controls that really make a chorus effect really dial into a mix. Especially if you're trying to dial it into a reverb and you're trying to get the modulation to rhythmically move with a delay or something like that, like your favorite songs do when they got like a chorus stop or reverb or delay. So that's why I'm gonna throw it right there. C Sweet Vox, that's gotta go into mix and master. There's no other better noise reduction plugin, maybe other than the isotope stuff, to me, than C Sweet Vox, because it's two knobs, it's simple, it gets the job done, it's not invasive. It's not invasive. It's not like the iguanas in South Florida. You feel me? It's not like certain animal species coming into a new environment. It's not invasive. It just works its way perfectly into a mix. The Capital Chambers is definitely gonna go into template. I think that maybe the Valhalla is just as good at producing sounds like that. Especially the chamber emulations in the Valhalla are really, really good, with a fraction of the cost of the Capital Chambers. Maybe it's on sale now sometimes, but for a long time, that plugin, all of these plugins was very expensive. So that's why I'm putting the Valhalla Vintage Reverb, the chamber preset, while also giving so many other sounds over the Capital Chambers. For rough mix, literally, it probably should go into mix and master, but Precision de-esser, literally one of my favorite plugins, one of my favorite de-essers, and it made me realize how much of a fraud Waves de-esser is, because this de-esser actually gives us the ability to control, not really completely, but at least it gives us that mode knob where we get the fast and slow, and that controls both the attack and release of the de-esser. So it's a precision de-esser. It's actually made mastering grade to put on a whole mix, so it can double as a vocal de-esser. And if you got a harsh mix and you're trying to master it, maybe tapping it a dB or two, it's just that transparent, and will work on the master bus. We got the debatable. I might even throw the raw distortion in delete. I know Mike Dean uses it, but there's so many other Tube Screamer plugins. It doesn't make sense to even break the bank with the UAD emulation, which you can get on sale, but you can just get other better distortion pedals. You can get like distortion cab amps and stuff from my other plugin people that will sound better with more options and more things that you can change. But it's still a good plugin. I use it. But here, relatively, I'm gonna put it in delete, 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 delete. Okay, cool. Now we have we're gonna put the Studer 800. I know some people gonna hate me for that. Let me know how you feel in the comments down below. The Studer 800, it's really good, but I prefer Toupe. I prefer Toupe over a tape plugin. The only flaw that I have with that plugin is that it doesn't allow me to have a link mode between the in and the out. So sometimes you think you're making it sound better, but it's just louder. And I just think having a link button between both of them is kind of what takes it away from being consistently in template. All right, but it's still great. Still many tape formula options, and if you open up the hood, you can change like the bias current, all that stuff. You can get a lot of great sounds, but I still prefer Toupe over this plugin. All right, so that's why it's going in debatable. And UAD ATR is better to me than Studer. All right, but it still got use cases on kick and bass. Then the AMS is definitely gonna have to go into template whenever you want that vintage Dr. Dre Eminem sound. It's very versatile, the AMS, because you can make a chorus, you can do an ambient reverbs, which are very important, room reverbs, hall. You can do delays and like weird stuff, so it's versatile. Throwing that in template, and most importantly, non-lin reverb, which is you can't access that in all types of reverb. So that's why it could be in rough mix, but for now we'll just throw it in template. Voice of God, that's going in mix and master, plugin that a lot of pro producers are using, and it's just a resonant filter. Yeah, I know you can do it with another resonant filter, but it's for me it has a musical sense. It doesn't sound the same like when you just do it with like Fab Filter. So yeah, I love it on kick, bass, and it can even work, which what it was intended for, on vocals to bring out that low mid resonance, so you get that little baby sound where the lows of the rap vocals are really like rolled off, and then the mid range pushes there, so it feels up front but still brittle and like still skinny and clean and stuff. So that's why I go with that one. Mix and master, definitely got to go to Pultec, man. Pultec is so versatile. These UAD plugins are very versatile. If you want to make new school music or old school music, you're looking at throwing that thing on kick, bass, you're throwing it on vocals, you're throwing it on snare, you're using it on parallel channels, you're throwing it on the mix bus. The Pultec is so round with so much shape, and the booty popping out the jeans for the Pultec is just perfect. Okay, so the UAD Moog, I use that on parallel blend, but the way it distorts is so beautiful on bass that it's got to at least go in rough mix, you know. The Neve 33609, great for keys, great for mix bus, great for piano specifically, and it can also be aggressive on drum room, you know. So that's got to go in rough mix for me. The Neve, what is that? Is that 1084? No, that's not 1084. That's, I don't remember which one that is. This one right here, but I've never really used it that much. But when I have used it, it's been decent for the job. I'm actually gonna throw that in debatable. I don't have enough experience with it. The times that I have used it, it kind of has too many knobs and stuff like that. But I know it's good for guitars. I know people use that one on electric guitars. Then we're gonna have to throw the daddy of the 1176, which is the 175. And those are Veramute compressors. They're great and so versatile. They can get really colored, but they're a little bit slower. They don't pump as much as 1176s because they have tubes and not FET parts. So yeah, I like that. API 2500 is definitely going on rough mix. You know, it's better to me than the Waves version, so that's going there. API Vision Strip is going in rough mix. That thing is so versatile, sounds so modern, can be used on tracking, piano, all that stuff is great. This channel strip right here, for me, it kind of flopped, which is the hardware version. They have the 617, whatever. It's a mix of a 610 1176. Don't really like it. uh we already got to know that this Shadow Hills is going in template because it is great. It's great sounding, but you can get it cheaper from Brainworks, so that's why it's going there. Manly Massive Passive, what a great mastering EQ, and I love the super high filter like 35K and shit. That alone makes this amazing, and the way it boosts and cuts, you can really like sculpt the mix. I think that Fairchild is overrated. I prefer the Waves version. Manly Voxbox is going in rough mix. That plugin is so good, but you can do with it, and it's got a built-in de-esser, so it can really be like that final vocal channel strip when you're tracking. All right. Uh, Inflator is cool. I think there's other plugins nowadays that can give us perceived loudness, like Spectre and stuff like that, in a bunch of clippers. I think when that plugin did come out, it was great, but nowadays we got better options. The Helios for the bump trick, when you just put it on the 60 hertz and it gives you that bump, I think that's cool. But outside of that, I'm gonna put it on debatable. I hardly ever use it, and if I do, it's like kick or electric guitars. Uh, then after that, I'm gonna throw the manually Veramute, the Veramute limiter. I'm gonna throw that. I'm gonna throw that in debatable, man, because the gain staging with that plugin is so weird where it doesn't slide into your workflow. It's like a plugin where you have to build a sound around it. You know what I mean? I just think that there's better tube compressors out there like the MJUC for a fraction of the price. Then we got the EMT 250. That's great for rap vocals, very gritty. This Lexicon is gonna have to go to the top. It's so perfect and just feels so good and natural, and that's what we love. Fatso's going in rough mix because of the versatility with the transformer, tape saturator. You can also use it as a clipper. And on the Fatso Senior, the other Fatso, you've got the sidechain parts, so that's great. And then we got this one, which is great for a drum smasher, the Chandler Zener limiter. So that's the end of the video here today, me doing a tiers list on these UAD plugins. Let me know if these videos should be shorter, it should be longer, you like when I go in depth about everything. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family though. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate you now, YouTube gang. Check the links down below to support the channel. Peace.